The views and opinions of this podcast do not represent official sources.
Because of the extreme amount of bass, listeners' discretion is advised.
This show has been brought to you in part by Two Black Labs Audio. You are listening to A Week in Geekdom. Welcome everybody to another exciting episode of A Week in Geekdom. I am your host, Giovanni Menendez, and yes, I am here once again to talk about all the geeky stuff that happened this week from Wednesday to Wednesday. You can follow us on your favorite social media platform, from Facebook to Twitter to Instagram to Tumblr, Pinterest, but most importantly, you can subscribe to our videos here on YouTube, and of course you can like, and you can even write to our email. That's aweekingeekdom@gmail.com, and let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see on this show, and everything else in between. So yes, folks, welcome back to another edition. Lots of news. And first of all, I want to get this out of the way. Finally, after what's been like years, Final Fantasy 15 is making its way to a console near you. We still don't have a date yet, but that trailer looks pretty awesome. And, well, it wasn't a trailer per se, it was just like a demo, gameplay, reel, whatever. But you guys know what I mean. It looks amazing. Some people were complaining that there's too many dudes in this game and not enough chicks. We'll just have to see the finished product. As of now, some hilarious memes have popped up, and while yes, it's a different take on the Final Fantasy series, I'm actually pretty excited to see where it goes, what are its themes, its story, and all that stuff. It plays more like a modern fantasy, realistic game, so I'm interested. Yeah, ever since day one, it's gone through so many changes, from name changes to console changes. I'm just excited to see if finally next year we will have, well, I think it'll be next year, 2015, the release of Final Fantasy 15. Other than that, Nintendo, thank you so much for bringing in those sweet transparent 2DSs. Too bad I already got a 3DS, but I appreciate it. In TV land, boy, I want to dedicate most of this show to this little area right here. First and foremost, Supergirl was rumored a while back as a potential character for a live-action TV series. Now we have the confirmation that yes, there will be a Supergirl TV series on CBS, and it will be helmed by the same team involved in Arrow and Flash, which is good, which is great actually. But it gets me wondering how. I'm guessing most of the shows won't be connected. I can sort of understand why Gotham, which I'll get to it in a bit, isn't connected to the rest of the TV world, I guess. But there's a small glimmer inside of me that wishes that Constantine and Supergirl, Flash, Arrow, and all these characters, even the potential Teen Titans pilot, if that ever gets made, that they would be together in one cohesive universe. That would be awesome. I don't know if they're going to do it or not, but at least in my mind, in my opinion, they already are. So it's a great time for superheroes on TV. And with Supergirl, they're going to do away with the original story, the origin story, if you will, and present something completely brand new. I think they should just straight up go with a New 52 approach with the character and make something new. The basic concept, of course, being similar to Superman's origin, you know, hailing from Krypton and all that stuff, but add a little twist here and there. I don't know if you're going to feature Superman in this, or at least make some allusion, or make us, or just inform us that he's there. That would be sufficient, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, Supergirl on TV, that's a strange choice, but at the same time, a really cool one. I just hope they deviate from what they did in the Smallville era, which I was not a fan of. I'm sorry. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. debuted as of yesterday with this episode. The ante has been raised, folks. I do not like some of the characters, but the show has progressed a lot ever since Winter Soldier. The quality of the show changed dramatically, and now with season 2 you're getting so many twists and turns here and there that it's a little darker and edgier. And I appreciated seeing characters like the Absorbing Man, which, let's be honest, the character kind of sucks. But it was cool to see him in the Marvel Cinematic World universe, if you will. And I think going on, I think the whole point of season 2 will be into like what happened to Coulson with the whole alien symbols and all that stuff, and Sky's origin, which it would be pretty awesome if this show somehow tied into the Inhumans. Please, pretty please, I'm begging. But other than that, I think we're going to be seeing more S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra action, and hopefully they'll capture that spirit from the 70s and 80s where it was, you know, those spy comic books that people really liked. And now with Mockingbird joining the team, it's only a matter of time till we get more heroes in this. So I'm pretty excited about that. Overall, it's a fun start to a brand new season on a show that really had its major ups and downs last year and even a couple months ago. And yeah, you should definitely check it out. If you're going to check out the show overall, start with the later half of season 1 and then go in with season 2. Because, yeah, those first episodes were horribly bad, in my opinion. In our opinion. And speaking of premieres, finally, the series premiere of Gotham. And man, did the internet whine. And by that I mean between comments from the actor against the actors, and comments about Batman not being there, and about too many cameos and too many Easter eggs and whatever. I don't think it hurt the pilot that much. Yes, you had some established characters here and there, but they are easily ignorable. You can easily ignore them until a later time. They did not affect the story progression whatsoever. They were just little visual cues for you guys, for everybody actually. But yeah, this show, to me, it's a fun, exciting pilot. It's basically Batman Earth 1 mixed with Year 1 and a little Gotham Central rolled in, and it's a weird but yet interesting take. And by that I mean it's a weird period in the Batman history. You either read about the Wayne murders, and then Year 1 with Batman first starts and Jim Gordon and all that stuff. This weird period, and I'm saying weird a lot, this period of Bruce growing up and before he leaves and all that stuff, it's never been explored because it's kind of boring. But by doing the things they're doing in the show, you know, bringing in more criminals and all that stuff before Batman's ever around, I think it's an interesting take. I don't view it as a strict adaptation. Obviously, it's its own thing. Just like you can have an Earth 2 book and a Batman Earth 1 and all these Elseworld titles. Hey, the Gotham pilot is an Elseworld title. You don't have to care that it doesn't follow suit with what you read. This is a brand new tale, a brand new spin on things, and if you go in with that mindset, I'm pretty sure you'll have a fun time, even with the name changes, even with the winks here and there, and even with the weak characters, because yes, I'll admit, I am not a huge fan of the Fish character. I know she's in the books as well, but I've never been a fan, and I was so happy by the end of it, and I won't spoil it for you guys, so you can go ahead and watch it. But the whole thing with the Penguin, I am so happy they're going with that direction. Penguin's a cool character, and I'm particularly interested in this version of the Penguin and how he grows up to be the famed Cobblepot that we all know and hate to love in the regular comic books. Because I believe I've read some comments that people were actually upset about Cobblepot as well. I remember and this is going to sound like a weird reference, but in the Batman show back in the early 2000s, Oswald Cobblepot, the Cobblepot family was disgraced and were no longer a powerhouse of the rich families in Gotham. So I could see that translating into this version as well. So I wasn't really I wasn't too worried at all with how they were going to do Oswald. I thought it was pretty awesome. Some of the other changes that people were complaining about with Ivy Pepper, I think it's a strictly adopted name. I heard she's later going to be in an orphanage, and she's going to learn her true name or whatever, and is going to revert back to Isley. It's a nice twist. So really, people should not get upset about the name so much, just as the character is portrayed faithfully, in my opinion. I don't know. I would get it if it's a main protagonist. That's a whole other ball game. But a villain, just as long as the character's there, I'm okay, But yes, the pilot captured the spirit and the character that is Gotham City pretty damn well. I could actually believe that the city's real, and you could walk in through those horrible city streets. And even with the character of Jim Gordon with Ben McKenzie, who did an amazing job. I am a huge fan of his Gordon take. And Harvey Bullock and all these great characters from the GCPD that we all know and love. I was also pleasantly surprised. I remember reading about it, but I totally forgot that Renee Montoya was going to be in the pilot or in the series. So that is just icing on the cake. The character is awesome, folks. So yes, Gotham, what do I think of it? I think it's a fun little show, and people should give it a shot and see what happens. I'm interested in seeing the development of Bruce Wayne, and that originally they stated that when Batman first shows up is when the series ends, and that sort of begins the tale of the Batman. But I think based on the reaction from the public, I think that could change. I don't know how many seasons you could keep going with this premise of a Gotham City show with no Batman. I mean, these characters, all these famous characters from Riddler to Poison Ivy, Joker, all these characters, they come about because of the force of Batman being in the city. So I'm interested in seeing the possibility. Maybe it would be awesome if we could get the Batman much earlier in this show. I'm just saying. But yes, go watch it. It's fun. Also, in movie news, I wanted to talk about two quick little things before we wrap up this edition of A Week in Geekdom. One, the Suicide Squad is reportedly in the works as a major motion picture. That's awesome. Especially after you've seen them in Arrow, Assault on Arkham, and Arkham Origins. The team has gotten a boost in popularity. Unfortunately, I'm not the hugest nerd on them. I don't know much about the Suicide Squad other than its foundation, what it's about, and a couple of the roster changes. It's not a book I read, and David Ayer is supposedly in the running to direct this whole thing. I'm pretty sure it will be strictly similar to what you saw in Batman Assault on Arkham. I think that's the perfect way to go with this. The roster, you could go with a New 52 one, you can go with pre-New 52. It doesn't really matter, just as long as you get, at least you should get Deadshot in there. And the rest of the team, you can sort of mold it around him with old interpretations and new characters, maybe. I don't know. It's going to be an awesome time, but yes, the vibe should be there of these anti-heroes working for hire and trying to make amends, at least some of them. Others might be working to alleviate their sentences, but it all boils down to the style and tone of the movie. Because like with Sinister Six on Marvel's side with Sony, you have to hit that balance of how do you make a movie about bad guys, and you don't want to glorify a bad guy, an evildoer, but at the same time make them likable and exciting for audiences to watch. I don't know if you're going to do a heist movie or something like Ocean's 11, or again like Assault on Arkham. So it's all up in the air. What do you guys think? Let us know about the Suicide Squad movie. Meanwhile, over at Fox/Marvel camp, Deadpool has finally been greenlit, and a lot of people are excited. Again, I'm gonna I'm gonna sound off here and sound completely whiny and bitchy, but I'm not a huge fan of the character. I've never really gotten the hype of the character. However, I will admit, a movie starring Deadpool is actually pretty awesome, and yes, I would check it out, even if it's R-rated, even if it's PG-13, and I think it should not matter, considering that PG-13 movies are kind of okay nowadays. It's just because it says it has the number 13 on it, it doesn't mean it's got to be a kid-friendly movie. You've seen, and this is a horrible example, you've seen stuff like Expendables 3, which was a crappy movie, don't get me wrong, it's a horrible movie, but the level of violence in that, I think, could translate well into a Deadpool movie in that PG-13 setting. You know what I mean? You can do some foul language, you can get away with it with a few words here and there, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. I've never seen a Deadpool book that would be overly graphic, aside from the Deadpool Max series. All the Marvel stuff has been pretty tame. Yes, you do see blood and violence and all that stuff, but it's not like goriness, decapitations, and just for the love of the gore. But yeah, a PG-13 movie usually denotes films in which violence, profanity, or sexual content is intense enough that many parents will not want to expose their younger children to the film, but not so intense as to warrant an R rating. With that said, I think Deadpool lends itself well, and the character is such a joker and such a misfit that he could make fun of the whole situation. It's perfect for him. He could make fun of the R ratings, of the R rating thing, while breaking the fourth wall. He could address the previous horrible X-Men Origins Wolverine movie. He can make references to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's such a unique character to bring to cinemas that obviously he has an immense fan base. I think he works best as a team character. I'm not a fan of solo outings for Deadpool. But yeah, regardless, it's a Marvel character that a lot of people love, and we will probably check it out, even if it's with Fox. So it'll come out in 2016, and there's a huge gap between here and there, so let's just keep our fingers crossed that the story actually turns out pretty epic. So yeah, folks, this has been another exciting episode of A Week in Geekdom. I've been your host, Giovanni Menendez, and as always, you can follow us on your favorite social media platform. You can write to our email, as I said at the top of the show, aweekingeekdom@gmail.com. And thank you so much for tuning in. We will see all of you next week.